City of Stevens Point Historic Preservation Design Review Commission meeting, recorded April 16, 2025.
All right, I'd like to call the session of the Historic Preservation and Design Review Commission to order, April 16th, 2025. Roll call.
Siebert.
Here.
Monk is excused. Christensen.
Here.
Kalnan.
Here.
Malevsky.
Here.
Finn.
Here.
And Christ.
Here.
All right, we got a quorum.
Okay. Report number 2, report on the March 25th meeting of Historic Design Review Commission. I'd like to ask for a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Nobody?
I wasn't here.
Okay, Barry?
Yeah.
Okay, a second, please.
I think I'm an alternate, so I don't know if I can.
All right, I was going to check in with you too. Do we need?
We don't have a, I mean, with you, he
You can make a second. I mean, you just don't have voting
Second.
ability.
Okay. Any additions, comments, corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Number 3, request to remove the mural, which is the loggers, on the west elevation of the building located at 817 Clark. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you all very much, and thank you for accommodating getting us on the agenda quick. So starting back, this is one of the older murals in the city. It was put together by a group of citizens. Bernice Sevenick was among them. I think she was an older person at the time, but in this capacity, she was a citizen. And they worked it out with, I believe Van Astens owned the building at the time, worked out a 20-year agreement that the mural would go up and stay up for 20 years. Yeah. That was completed in 2004. That 20 years has lapsed, and then some. But the mural stayed up. They paid for the mural through selling of faces. The faces on this mural are real people. Some of them from Stevens Point, not all of them from Stevens Point. And the photograph itself, in my research, isn't even a Stevens Point photo. It's a photo that we got from the Wisconsin Historic Society that depicted something similar to what likely occurred on the Wisconsin River. The mural was then painted. Meredith, Barry, I know you remember the name.
Kelly Meredith and
yes, Kelly
Susan
Meredith.
Prentice.
What they did was really unique. They painted most of the outline of the mural, and then citizens got to effectively paint by number. So it was really cool. They got the community involved. Regardless, I can't tell you what the material is behind it, but the brick wall, that used to be a shared wall. There was another building there. It was a liquor store. And I can't find any records about when that came down either. But that was a shared wall. So there was a material put on, and Bill Yutchitz was involved in putting that material on. It's a 3-letter acronym. I don't remember what it is, but it's basically like a fiber plaster. That has been cracked and falling off for several years. Cracks form, water got behind there, and with the freeze-thaw cycle, you guys are familiar with potholes. Think of this in a vertical manner. So large chunks are falling off now, and it's become a safety hazard. So the mural needs to come down. In working with the property owner, who is now Jerry Farner, he is at least receptive to the idea of doing something else. He's a local guy and very much involved in the city, so he's receptive to doing something else, but his priority is preserving the building. The brick behind it, we don't know what we're going to find. The pieces that are falling off are pretty easy. It seems like the things higher up may be a little more challenging to get removed, which could create further problems. If we can't remove it all safely, we certainly don't want to be damaging the brick behind it. So they're working through that process right now of how to get it off. The bottom stuff is going to flake off real easy, and we're going to assist, the city is going to assist in hauling that off to the landfill, the pieces as they come off. But further up, we don't know what we're going to find yet. So we will be back before you to look at alternatives and hopefully replacing something that's up there. We don't know what that's going to entail yet. I started soliciting some ideas, and boy, everybody's got one. There are some legit ones, there are some funny ones, but everybody's got ideas. But that is something way further down the road. Our ordinances require that you review the process of taking down any murals, and that's why we're before you today. They need to start work on that ASAP, so I am respectfully requesting your permission to begin removal of that mural in the safest way possible while preserving, the priority is going to be preserving the brick and building underneath it. With that, I'm open to questions.
Why can't you just fix it?
That is not fixable. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No one's going to be able to fix that.
There's nothing that can't be fixed.
It can be replaced. There are lots of things that can't be fixed. I have a scar on my leg from a hip replacement that will never, ever be the same again. What we're trying to do is respect the integrity of the intent of this being iconic coming into our city. There's nothing terribly historic about it. Kmart is arguably more historic than a 20-year-old mural. But yeah, there's no good way to fix that. It can be replaced.
And I'll add too, when we worked on our mural ordinance a number of years back, I mean, this is a clear example of
Why you don't want
this mural not adhering to our current standards, and a clear reason why you don't want a mural to be
Not only that,
100% of a building wall. The reason why it's flaking, the reason why it's peeling off is because 100% of the wall is covered, and as the mayor mentioned, the brick doesn't have the ability to breathe if paint is acting as that barrier for any moisture coming in and out. So
not only did it not adhere to the standards, it didn't adhere to the wall.
yeah.
I should note too that that contract, as I mentioned earlier, is expired. There is no obligation for the building owner to put anything else up there. At this point, they are receptive to looking at putting something up once the wall, the integrity of that wall is preserved.
Is that building designated a historic building?
Just locally.
Yeah,
not,
just
locally.
not
It's in the
national.
district.
Okay. Even, you had mentioned there's two, and I have pictures, there's two types of brick. One was the original building you said that came down the liquor store. That is starting to peel away from the secondary building that still stands. So I think the water not only has gotten behind the portrait, it's gotten behind that brick because it was probably never sealed. And that's starting to pull away as well.
Right, and I think that's common for any,
Yeah.
common for any type of proposal that comes before you folks is that there's a degree of uncertainty that exists with the full scope of the project that a person's going to go forward with until you start actually performing work on the building.
Understood.
There's always a lot of surprises, so I'm sure, as the mayor mentioned, obviously they're going to take the most gentlest means possible to removing the paint. However, there's just a lot of uncertainty at this point and as to how easy or difficult it will be to remove.
Understood. That whole building has been sheathed in that material for the side and the back,
Yeah.
even where there is no mural, just at the back of the building, and it is coming off as well.
Anything else?
So this isn't probably about what we're talking about right now, but is there a way that you can photograph that mural, and you have photographs of it, I'm assuming, that you could do a photograph of it on something?
Yes, this is a little outside of what we want to talk about today, but I can tell you, Carol, that John Hartman has already reached out to me.
Okay.
He has high-resolution photos, and he had some really cool ideas. He said, Matt, rather than painting it on the wall, you can take that high-res photo and put it on any kind of material,
Sign.
including something like a billboard.
Yep.
And it doesn't even have to be on the wall. It could be attached. It could be freestanding. We haven't gotten that far yet. The other thing is if the community decides to do something a little different, we also have the ability to put a placard there commemorating that spot. This is the original site of the Riverman mural. But I got to remind you that currently there is no contract, there is no obligation required on the property owner to do any of that. So we've been working with him, and he's been really good to work with so far. He just really cares about preserving his building, his significant investment, arguably, in the downtown, making sure that that building stays in good condition, and right now is very receptive to potentially putting something else up there.
Does he own the property that's empty to the west of
The land, yes.
Yeah, he does. Okay.
Yep, and we're not anywhere near talking about what might go up there later. Right now, we're looking to take this down, preserve the building, do his repair work, whatever that entails, and then we'll be back. They'll be back. I'm way too more involved in this than I should be, but it's my history too.
Anything else? Motion to accept the proposal to remove the mural? The mural?
Also move.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any other questions? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? No.
Thank you all very much. There have been a few inquiries, including your nephew, about potentially saving faces or pieces. I'm directing everybody to the property owner because I don't know if any of that can be saved. But we're directing those people to the property owner.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your other meeting. Okay, number 4, a public hearing. I'd like to call the public hearing and action on a request from the City of Stevens Point to amend Section 22.04 of the Revised Municipal Code of the city. Said request outlines the approval process for historic structures, properties, and districts to be nominated on the State and National Register of Historic Places. Adam.
Yeah, so I talked a little bit about this last month when we met. So got a directive essentially from the State Historic Preservation Office saying that any communities that are a member of the Certified Local Government Program, which is basically the state certification program for historic preservation, Stevens Point being a member of that program, that we're required to change our local ordinance to reflect what I'm about to say as it relates to national historic districts in the process before nominating them. So in our historic preservation ordinance right now on the local level, we outline the process to designate sites, buildings, and districts on the local level to be considered historic. We don't have anything as it relates to the process for state or national nominations. So this is in the ordinance, in the proposed resolution, but essentially what the process is when somebody submits a petition document to the State Historic Preservation Office saying, hey, I want to be on the State and National Register, the state will notify me, say, hey, this request came in. We are going to require, one, that this commission hold a public hearing, take action on said request, stating, do you support or do you not support the proposed designation? Secondly, then, the chief elected official of the city, that would be the mayor, he or she then would have to submit the same, basically submit the same findings, them saying if they do support or do not support the proposed nomination. Both analyses, both by the commission and by the mayor, would have to be done in conformance to the Secretary of Interior standards for nominating. If you support, if you feel that it meets those standards for nomination, obviously then the directive would be to support the nomination. If you don't, if it doesn't, then clearly the opposite would be would arise here. So that's kind of about it. Basically, commission has to take action and the mayor has to take action and submit their proposal or submit their thoughts to the state, and then after that happens, the state goes through their process to confirm or reject the petition. So, any clarifying questions?
You had mentioned this is aligning us with what's being done on the state level, right?
Correct.
Any of you gentlemen comments?
We'll still have to,
Oh, okay.
we'll
Okay.
still have to obviously start the public hearing first.
Yeah, well, I did. I mentioned it. Okay, well,
Sorry, yeah.
public hearing then. Don't see anybody to comment.
Well, you have to declare the public
Yep.
hearing open.
Okay.
I know, this is a little
All right,
formal and
declare it
rigid.
open. There's nobody. So what do you want to do? Just a vote on this?
Second
or
time, if
Yeah,
anybody
but
wants
do
to
you want to
talk.
vote on it or not?
Yeah, we'll have to vote.
okay.
So if there's anybody wishing to speak, go through the motion the first time, the second time, the third
Okay.
time. Then if no one else wishes to speak, you'll declare the public hearing closed and then kick it
So
back.
for the second time, anybody wishing to speak? Third time? No? Okay, public hearing is there closed. Now, we can entertain a motion to accept the proposal here.
I would move approval of the amendment to our historic preservation ordinance for the nomination buildings as presented.
I will second.
Barry? Okay. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? That was easy. Number 5, a request from James Lucas, representing Amethyst Main LLC, for a design review to perform exterior improvements on the building located at 968 Main, consistent with Chapter 22.05.
Jim, I'll actually defer to you if you want to give a quick, at the podium, if you want to provide a quick background of the project.
Do you have sample?
Yeah. Yeah, so I have just the exterior elevation, because I figure that's really all what's pertinent.
Good afternoon, my name's Jim Lucas. I'm working with the property owner. This is Radio Chaos, and upstairs is, well, I guess it's a separate project. Currently, because we're going to be doing renovations on the second floor and replacing windows, the first floor is really the front of the building, so that that will be updated as you've seen on many buildings on Main Street. These are old windows, probably single pane, and they would be replaced with aluminum storefront entrance. So it's you've seen anodized aluminum frames, insulated glass, and a better product all the way around. Much more durable, weather resistant, and so on. So the building will look as much as possible like it does now. Same window openings, but just new fenestration products.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Lucas?
Does it just cover the lower, it covers both the section where Radio Chaos is and then that other section that you have pictures of?
Yes, the first and second floor windows will be
It's
replaced.
considered the same building, no?
Yes, it is,
Yeah.
yes.
Any other questions? Okay. What's the city's recommendation?
To approve.
Motion to accept this as stated?
Also move.
Okay, Malepsky, second, please.
Second.
Who said it? Oh, okay. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thanks, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it.
There's number 6 here. Get there. Yes, indeed. Request from James Bacher, representing Leon Ayers, for a design review to perform storefront improvements on the building located at 1044 Main. Anybody?
I don't
Adam,
see
go ahead.
Jason.
I don't
Yeah,
see
so I can kind of provide a quick background. So proposal is really focusing on the storefront window area, really the chunk of the building south of just below the awning on the Ayers building. So you have the alley to the east of here. You have Guild Design building just to the west here. So what they're proposing, I think the image right on the right-hand side of the screen here really shows well what the changes are in terms of material. So the opening that exists in terms of this area that's enclosed in the cursor, that's not going to be altered in terms of being enlarged or truncated. There would be a change in the type of material that will be portrayed. So you can see here the proposal on the southern half where my cursor is would be the existing stone that would stay. Here we would have the hardwood panel over here would be the glass, and then, or the thermal pane glass, and then different type of glass. I can't really make out what that says at the moment, spandrel glass, just above here, and then obviously the stone that's hidden right now because of the awning. Really, the intention behind this, at least according to the applicant, is more for security purposes, given that the jewelry is on display there, that having a more thicker, more resistant type of glass would provide that provide the security measure. Really, the request before you is because of, or the reason why this request is before you is because of the changes in material that's being proposed within the storefront window portion. Last thing I will say is the applicant did provide, Ayers in this case, did provide a facade improvement grant application for this scope of work as well. I know last time when we met as a commission, one of the items was to consider proposed amendments to the facade grant program. Instead of having the commission take a look at it, consider action on it, it would be up to staff and the chair. That was approved by Finance Committee on Monday and will be on the council agenda on Monday. So if those changes in the grant program are approved on Monday and this design review is approved, just note that the applicant will be seeking facade grant funds, and Tim, you and I will touch base sometime thereafter. So,
Any comments on the awning? We were talking about that awning.
yeah, so the last I heard was the intention is to still stay that years that they're looking to retain the awning. Retain a awning, an awning on the building here.
I know we talked a little bit about a crank awning versus that.
Yeah, last I heard, they're still looking to, that the preference is to retain the same type of sort of triangular shaped awning.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'm not sure exactly, where's the 18-inch hardwood decorative back at the 2-foot mark? I can't quite understand what that is. Is that just that base that he has there now?
Yeah, so that would be this part where my cursor is, right below. So this part then would be covered with that hardwood panel.
And so what is the hardwood panel? What does that look like? What's the...
I guess a good example would be over at Opera House. It's hard to tell. I wish I could pull up the street view, but the street view is not updated to reflect that. But basically on the Opera House building, the changes that they did with the front facade, I believe that they have a similar setup here where you have the ramp leading up to the main doors, and there's that hardwood panel basically at grade up to so many feet.
So it's just a plain panel. It's not something... I mean, the building has been completely changed, and it looks more like a 1950s place. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to put a panel on that you might put on the old Fox Theater.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, my understanding is it's just one solid piece.
But it says decorative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's where I had some conversations with the applicant in terms of,
What does that mean?
what type of quote-unquote architectural details do you want to incorporate onto that wood panel? They could be, I mean, there's a lot of different ways. You could have vertical columns spaced out every 6, 8, 10 inches to provide some sort of contrast. Those details have not really been flushed out yet. Really, the gist of it from the applicant, and I understand the intent behind it, is that you want to add some level of detail. Adding something there is better than just a solid sheet of wood and calling it a day, right? You want to add some intrinsic value to the sheet of wood that's going to be applied here. So that's really what it's meant by kind of the detailed panel.
I just don't want to see some pastiche, something stuck on it so that it looks something different than what the building is.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Let the building be what it is.
And right now, that's the window. What we see now is a panel behind the window, correct?
Right.
Yes.
The window's full, so this would be an exterior panel, and then above that, the window would be inserted.
Correct.
A new window, yeah.
Yeah,
So it'd be exterior wood.
It's hard to tell on this picture just because of the black background, but where my cursor is right now, it's probably better, Carol, if you look at the screen here, the bookstore building just next here. You can see you have grade and you have this
Right.
panel right before the window
Right.
with basically a miniature rectangle within it. That's kind of an example in terms of what sort of detailing would be present.
Okay.
It could be something like that. It could be the vertical columns that I mentioned. It's pretty, the sky's the limit in a way in terms of what type of detailing you could have. That's something that
Right.
the applicant will have to square away before.
But he
It
is
seems like
making,
they-
sorry.
Seems like they kind of want to mimic what the other side has, which is a nice,
Yeah.
gives that nice sense of continuity anyway along the,
Yeah, the
side
applicant
of the
said
street.
a couple times now that the bookstore building and then Opera House are two examples that they would want to replicate.
yeah.
Or at least emulate in some shape.
Yeah, mimic that same idea.
Does that board go around the corner? I guess I was never clear about that.
In the corner here?
Yeah.
Looks like from the graphic here, no. It would just be the front because you can't tell, but I mean, this is meant to be where it kind of comes in, where my cursor is at a 45-degree angle. So that would be the glass. So the glass would remain on the inside parts here. It would just be this panel and then this panel.
I'm just curious, if security is the problem, then,
Well, part of the reason for the security is the thicker sheet of glass that they're going to be replacing with
yeah, but
from
wouldn't
what's
you have to
existing.
do that around the corner too?
Couldn't tell you.
Toward the door is what I'm asking?
Well, that part's going to be replaced too. Yeah, so this part is going to be glass. This is not going to be the wood panel, the hardwood panel where my cursor is. This part is going to be the thermal glass as well.
Oh,
The same
okay.
as what this is.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That was my
this
question.
more thicker sheet of glass will be both here and the portions where it comes at a 45-degree angle.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
So will you review exactly what that is? Because I would really hate to see, I mean, that building does not have to mimic the theater or the building next door. It can stand on its own because it's really modern looking. I mean, modern in the sense of 1950.
Yeah, for sure, I'll have to look at what
Right.
specific type of detailing that he's
Right,
proposing for,
right.
before signing off.
And I would agree with Carol. Originally, it was similar in style to the bookstore. It was brick and had some of the brick detailing and stuff, but back probably in the 50s, they put that stone facade on. So when you're trying to make it look historical, you go 80 years ago, or do you go, 100 years ago? I think they're just trying to keep it, if what they're aiming for is for it to be typical of 1950s, then I agree. The detail that you put into that hardwood probably shouldn't try to emulate those other two buildings, because those other two buildings are still brick and still echo back to the early 1900s. This one doesn't.
No.
And one good thing with them, I mean, ultimately, I would have to review it before I sign off on it anyways, but one good thing is with them asking for financial assistance via the Facade Improvement Grant Program, that'll be something that Tim, should the program amendments be approved on Monday, that obviously you'll have the ability
Yep.
to sign off on it as well.
And I trust him.
Mr.
I
President.
trust him.
Yeah.
So that's one of the two of you. As long as I trust one of you.
It's going to look like the windows were made smaller. I mean, that's just, there's no way
Correct.
around that.
Correct.
Because the materials aren't continuing. There's a stone or whatever that is, the sill there, and obviously they're not going to put a stone sill on top of some wood. So I guess, again, to reiterate, let the building be what it is,
Part of the problem with the existing building as it exists right now is it's single pane window. They also have a lot of problems with condensation. because of the single pane, and so there's problems. They had problems even displaying stuff in there because of the moisture and stuff coming down. So utility bills and condensate, it's problematic, so.
Yeah, they have fans in the back that run almost all the time.
Yeah.
Underneath, just behind the
Yeah.
setup. The spandrel glass, just in case, I had to look it up, in case anybody wants to know, that is completely opaque glass that just takes up the space in the window. So you will not be able to see through it, but it is a layer of glass with a black backing.
So will the spandrel glass also be thermopane? Is there going to be an airspace in between the two?
That I don't believe so.
I would imagine it would be like a double pane, just like the rest of it.
I would hope so.
Do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Oh, it's also for security, from what I've read.
Yeah.
So if it gets broken, it's not just going to shatter. You've got some rigidity to it. So.
Anything else? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to accept as proposed.
I will make that motion with the condition that the office reviews exactly what the detail is on that decorative panel, and that it reflect the age of the building.
Barry, you still second?
I would second, yeah.
Okay. Any other? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Number 7, a request from Dave Ladick to paint the north-facing wall of the building located at 1216 Strongs. Adam?
All right, so for some of our, I guess, more tenured members of the commission,
Excuse me?
Yes.
years of service.
Okay.
Years of service.
seasoned veteran.
I think he said tender.
I said tenured. I said tenured.
I know.
So for some of the folks on the commission who were on the commission a few years back, you may recall a mural that was requested on this north-facing wall here. Just for context, Goose is right over here. So this is right next to the bus stop, so Strongs Ave.
That was the
pushing
gorilla,
through
right?
here. Yes. Yeah. Obviously, the mural request was approved, but is not going forward on the building. And so the applicant really, because of that, is seeking an alternative, that being to paint the north-facing wall. In the application and in subsequent conversations with the applicant, he did reference that he wants to paint it with more of a, I guess, a quote, earthy color, and kind of flushing that out a little bit more. It appears to be more of a, really, the intention is to be more of a brown color, just since the term earthy color is pretty expansive and the types of colors that would entail. Recommendation is to approve. There is the condition on there that the applicant would have to provide the specific type of color, of course, that they would want to paint on the building prior to starting the work, just to make sure that the proposed paint is in alignment with your approved color palette and ultimately would still be consistent with our other paint guidelines. So.
Questions?
I have a comment on this one, too. Because as you have it in this picture, you have it as a really dark color. It is a big block, next to the buildings that are west of it, and the buildings west of it are kind of particular, and some of them have just had new windows in, and it just completely changed them. And I guess I wouldn't want to draw attention to that building, and if you made it a lighter color, first of all, it would get dirtier faster, and those pipes that go up there with whatever utilities or whatever's in there actually gives it kind of some dimension, and it looks kind of nice in a darker color. And I noticed the brick on the front of it has a variation in color in it, and I would hope that perhaps a darker color would be chosen.
That's a good
From the other brick that's already on the front.
Yeah, and that's a good comment. I believe I included that in the memorandum to you folks, is that, working on the preservation plan from last year, one of the key takeaways was that there was an interest in prioritizing the rear of historic buildings, especially along this corridor, given the amount of vehicle traffic that exists. I think this is a good opportunity where by applying paint on this north-facing wall, you're sprucing it up in a way, but you're not, kind of what you were alluding to, Carol, that you're not trying to glean attention towards that building. You're not trying to detract attention away from some of the other buildings on the north side that arguably has more detailing, and the work on those rear of the buildings are more historically relevant when compared to this building. So adding this, I think the analogy I was thinking through my head at the time is painting this north-facing wall just really brings this up to par in terms of the overall historic integrity of the building. It doesn't do anything more. It doesn't make this become a plus, but it doesn't make it become a negative that it arguably is right now.
What is he, Carol's point about the pipes, that's kind of an interesting view of it. What does he plan to do with that? I don't know.
I don't know offhand. My assumption is that pipe would still remain, because that would be quite...
I mean, in terms of painting,
Of color.
the color.
Because right now it's a contrasting
Yeah.
color. Is he going to
Yeah.
do it all the same, or will those be a darker shade similar to what?
Yeah, because it has kind of a
darker shade
unique
of the
look.
earth tone?
Yeah, my take is that, and talking with him, is that the color of the pipes would be darker than what the selected paint color will be.
In effect, the same thing he has now.
Correct. Yeah, so my take is that from him is that the pipes in this case would still stand out. Obviously, it won't stand out as much as it does right now, given the gray background versus,
Black.
it won't be black, but
No, I mean this.
yeah. It'll stand out, but
A darker
arguably not
earth
as
tone
much.
to complement the earth tone of the body of the rest of it.
Correct.
Okay.
So Adam, does he own that little piece of property right behind it? That little triangular spot, whatever it is?
No, that is the redevelopment authority.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I believe
They could spruce it up a bit then, right?
no, the redevelopment authority has over the years, with the addition of the, I guess I wouldn't call that a pergola per se.
Yeah, gazebo.
Whatever you want to call that. And that was installed maybe less than a handful of years ago.
Yeah, 2 years.
So they spruced it up. Is there more that can be done? Absolutely. I know the Opera House is part of their work. I worked with them a couple years back on, or maybe about a year ago back, but adding some landscaping along that triangular part, so.
Okay.
Is the
Anything else?
intention to paint the pipes or leave the pipes?
Leave the pipes.
Okay. I was going to say, if you paint them, it can hide
I like 'em.
wear and damage and... Okay.
Anything else? Okay. Entertain a motion then to accept with the, I don't know, do you want a condition on the pipes? To have them darker than the building?
We'll trust our designated agent.
Okay. All right, then we'll entertain a motion to accept the proposal. Barry, thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Others? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I think we's adjourned.
Our agenda is exhausted.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.